In 2022, Chegg reported more than 8 million subscribers. By the second quarter of 2025, it reported just 2.6 million subscribers for the quarter, down 40% from the year before. Revenue was falling, traffic was disappearing, and Chegg blamed the two most powerful forces on the internet, artificial intelligence and Google. It even sued Google. But Chegg's real problem began long before ChatGPT existed, because Chegg did not own the road that brought students to its answers. It rented that road from Google. And when the road changed, the business model broke. Chegg did not begin as an AI victim. It began as a textbook company. The original idea was simple. College textbooks were painfully expensive, so Chegg helped students rent them instead of buying them. When Dan Rosensweig became CEO in 2010, he pushed the company towards something much more valuable, a digital learning platform. By 2014, Chegg was handing most of its textbook logistics to another company and concentrating on digital services. That was a smart transition. Physical books required warehouses, shipping, and inventory. Digital answers could be sold repeatedly to millions of students at very little additional cost. Chegg became a subscription machine. Students searched Google for a homework question. A Chegg result appeared. The student clicked, saw part of the answer, and paid to unlock the rest. The formula looked unbeatable. Millions of questions, millions of Google searches, and a subscription waiting at the end. Then the pandemic arrived. Classrooms closed, education moved online, and demand for digital study help exploded. In 2020, Chegg's revenue jumped 57% to $644 million. Its subscriber count reached 6.6 million. In 2021, revenue climbed again to $776 million, with 7.8 million subscribers. By 2022, the company reported 8.2 million subscribers. Chegg looked like one of the great winners of online education. But those numbers hid a dangerous weakness. Chegg owned the answer library. It did not own the student relationship. For many users, Google owned the first click. This is the difference between having a product and having distribution. Chegg had a valuable product, a huge database of study questions and expert solutions. But much of its discovery came from search. As long as Google showed a blue link to Chegg, the model worked. Search traffic became visitors. Visitors became subscribers. Subscribers became revenue. But that traffic was never guaranteed. Google could change where a link appeared. It could change what users saw before the link. It could answer more of the question directly on the search page. Chegg had built a toll booth on land it did not own. Then, in late 2022, ChatGPT showed students a different experience. Instead of searching for a matching question, opening a page, and paying to reveal an answer, a student could ask an AI directly. The AI could explain the answer, rewrite it, simplify it, and respond to follow-up questions. The value of a static answer page suddenly looked much smaller. ChatGPT was only half the threat. Google also began placing AI-generated summaries above many traditional search results. Now, the search engine was no longer just sending people toward answers. It was increasingly presenting an answer itself. Chegg said this change was keeping users inside Google and reducing the number of visitors reaching its website. In February 2025, Chegg sued Google, arguing that AI summaries were harming publishers and weakening demand for original content. Google denied the allegations and said its AI search features can send traffic to a wider range of websites. Whatever a court ultimately decides, the business result was already visible. In the second quarter of 2025, Chegg's total revenue fell 36% from the previous year. Subscription revenue fell 49%. Subscribers fell 40% to 2.6 million. This was not a normal slowdown. The engine bringing new users into the business was breaking. Chegg's mistake was not simply failing to invent ChatGPT first. The deeper mistake was believing that a large content library, combined with search traffic, created a permanent moat. But AI changed both sides of that equation. First, it made answers easier to generate. A student no longer needed to find the exact page that matched a question. Second, it changed distribution. Search platforms could summarize information before a user ever visited the source. Chegg was squeezed between a cheaper substitute and a less dependable traffic source. And because many students discovered Chegg only when they had an immediate homework problem, the relationship was often transactional. The company had millions of subscribers, but it did not have the same daily habit or network effect that protects the strongest platforms. When a faster answer appeared somewhere else, switching was easy. Chegg did not simply surrender. In 2025, it announced a major restructuring, cutting 388 jobs, about 45% of its workforce at the time, and reducing costs. It separated its strategy into two areas. The first was academic services, the familiar study support business. The second was Chegg's skilling, career training aimed at employers and working adults. That pivot reveals what Chegg now understands. Homework answers alone may no longer support the company it once was. Career skills, workplace training, and credentials could create a more durable reason to pay. There are early signs that the cost cuts are helping. In the first quarter of 2026, Chegg reported its first positive net income in 2 years, while operating expenses fell sharply. But management also admitted that traffic remained under pressure. Chegg may survive. It may even build a healthier, smaller company. But returning to its pandemic-era peak is a completely different challenge. Chegg's story is not only about education. It is a warning for every business built on another platform's distribution. If Google sends your customers, Google can change the route. If a social network supplies your audience, an algorithm can take it away. And if your product is mainly information, AI can make that information cheaper, faster, and easier to personalize. Chegg thought its moat was a mountain of answers, but the real source of growth was the traffic flowing toward those answers. When that traffic disappeared, so did the illusion of safety. Chegg did not lose only because ChatGPT gave better answers. It lost because it built a powerful business on a traffic engine it never controlled. And in the age of AI, borrowed distribution can vanish faster than anyone expects.